The best deck in all of Yu-Gi-Oh's history is here to take over the Duel Triangle. Hello guys and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I am lying to you right off the bat. Yeah, this deck is not very good, but it is very funny. We're talking about War Rock, and I have 3 different decks for all 3 of the different attributes or summoning mechanics for Duel Triangle, all utilizing the probably worst deck in all of Yu-Gi-Oh's history, which is War Rock. At least in a modern sense of Yu-Gi-Oh's history, because this deck just does not do anything. I'm going to quickly go over what the game plan is of War Rock. War Rock is a deck that centers around utilizing Earth Warrior monsters to trigger effects within the battle phase. Think Tenpai, and then immediately forget that, because it's nothing like that at all in any capacity. It is just bad. So, here's the thing. Fortia is probably the best card that War Rock has. It says if an Earth Warrior monster battles after damage calculation, you can add a War Rock card from your deck to your hand. Fantastic. And then on top of that, all of them have the effect where once they trigger their effect, they gain the entire, they boost all of the War Rocks you currently control by 200 attack until the end of the opponent's turn. Sure, that's fine. You may have noticed an issue with this, which is the fact that it searches after damage, which is not exactly great. That means that on turn 1, you basically have 0 plays, and on turn 2, you have to actually attack something. Now, notably, that wouldn't be that big of a deal if War Rock Fortia had, like, stats. It's 17-17. It's not exactly the greatest of stats. In fact, it's actually pretty terrible. Now, that is where War Rock Mountain comes in. This is actually a good card. Like, just straight up, this is a good card. Because when activated, you add a War Rock monster to your hand. At the start of the battle phase, if you control no monsters or just warrior monsters, you can special summon a War Rock. And if a warrior monster would be destroyed by battle, you could just send it to the graveyard. That's a pretty good card. Generally, the idea is to utilize War Rock Mountain to search out your warriors and then attack into things. So, of course, we're playing a board breaker, go second style deck. As you can see, we're playing very, very few hand traps. I don't think I'm actually playing any, but lots of board breakers. Notably, this one is the Link variant, and because of that, we are playing Change of Heart. We're playing 3 Change of Heart in order to yoink our opponent's cards, alongside things like Triple Tactics, Thrust, and Talents, in order to, again, yoink the opponent's cards. We also are playing Pink, because Pink has the ability to tribute itself. It's a free guy, it allows you to tribute itself and potentially fetch out additional points of interaction. It's very solid. As for the rest of the cards, they are pretty simple. We have Fortia, which previously mentioned, searches a card. Gaktos can special summon itself when you normal summon another guy. Wento can boost your monsters by 800 during damage calculation. Mahmood pops a card after damage calc. Meteoragon and Bashilios are our 2 big boss monsters. Bashilios is kind of only here for sometimes coming up, but it's just kind of another big guy, which is nice. He can special summon himself. It's great. Meteoragon truly is the heart of this deck, or more specifically, the reason you would win games, because it can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects. That's a pretty good effect. On top of that, when an attack is declared involving this card, you can negate the opponent's monster that is attacking it, or that is involved in that attack, and then all of the effects of any monster with that name are negated until the end of the turn. Including in grave, including on the field, including in the hand, everywhere, just negate the effects. Just none of that. Very powerful. On top of that, during the battle phase, it can also attack again, boosting itself as well. Bashilios notably can actually attack directly if an Earth Warrior attacks. So you attack with a different guy, and then this guy can attack directly. It's okay. Now, there is a floodgate, but it's a very stupid floodgate, and it's one of the worst floodgates I've ever seen. But it is also extension. War Rock Medium is probably one of the most pushed cards for pretty much any archetype. While your opponent controls a special summon monster and you control a level 7 or higher War Rock monster during the main phase 1, neither player can activate monster effects on the field. Cool. That doesn't really affect you because you're playing War Rock. You don't have monster effects. But 2, it's basically a floodgate for the opponent, which is very funny. On top of that, during the main phase, you can set a War Rock spell trap from your deck, and then you are locked into warriors for the rest of the turn. This card is very good, also giving you access to things like War Rock Mountain and War Rock Dignity. Dignity is a negate, kind of, if you squint and don't really think about it. It's a negate for monsters on field. It does not destroy, it just negates. And on top of that, it, during the battle phase, can also negate spells and traps. Wow, crazy. Or just monster effects in general. So, overall, that is the kind of gist of the deck. The rest of the cards that are in here are, again, board breakers, as previously mentioned. We're also playing things like Raigeki, Harpy's Feather Duster, Lightning Storm, etc. This version of the deck is is obviously centered around the Link monsters. We are utilizing many Link monsters to kind of steal and to do things with. That's the general idea. Let's hop into the replay and show you how this deck performed. Alrighty, here we are going second, and one of the benefits that this deck has is the fact that it can go second. And that is, of course, what we are going to do most of the time. We have a fairly decent hand here, Pot of Desires, Rhoda, and Warrock Mountain, alongside Pank. Pank is crazy. And again, you might be wondering, oh, why not play the Cashiers? Obviously, the Cashiers are banned in this event, but for the most part, you actually don't want the Cashiers. My opponent's going to combo off here. They're going to do things. But actually, Pank does end up being better oftentimes, as opposed to something like the Cashiras, because again, it can kind of get itself off the field if need be. You can trigger its effect to just get it off the field, and then go into the various different warrior combo stuff. Combo. You can basically keep your field empty of anything but warriors. My opponent is making Power Tool Dragon here. Look, I'm not entirely certain what's going on here, but out comes Crystal Wing Synchro, and I go, oh, okay. So now we're going to go for the extra normal here of Junk Synchron. We're going to special summon, and then we're going to go into the Junk Speeder. It's Infernoble. Yeah, for some reason you can just do the full Infernoble combo here, which is crazy. Now, to be fair, my opponent messes this up, but they do kind of end on what they want to end on. They could have also ended on, like, Baron, but because they don't have the Link 1, it's not exactly great. So out comes Charles. They're going to go for the Durandal. They're going to grab the Renaud and then just pass. They could have special summoned the Renaud there and then just gone into Baron. That would have basically been it. They would have just had Baron in the other guy. They could have also added an equip spell or something else of that nature. So I don't necessarily blame them for this, but that's just something else that they could have potentially done. Anyway, they also can't be targeted, so that's something to keep in mind. We draw triple attack, which is kind of crazy. So we're going to start off here with the Rhoda, which promptly gets Ash, which is great because we're going to steal here. We're going to steal the Crystal Wing Synchro. Then we're going to go for the Pank. They're going to attempt to pop, and we're just going to say no to that, which also boosts my guy to 6k. And yeah, this is exactly what we want. Fantastic. We have massive attack stats. Now, here's the thing. The reason we want to steal their cards, and the reason we're playing so many steal cards, is due to the fact that our cards are bad. I'd much rather be playing with the opponent's cards. So I'm going to first and foremost to draw a card. We're drawn to Wento, which is great, actually, because now we can actually search the Wento, or the Gactos, which gives us the ability to go for lethal here. I'm going to go for the Change of Heart here. We're going to activate its effect. We're going to target this guy. The reason for this is simply to get it off of the field. Eventually, we would have to interact with it anyway. Doesn't really matter. We're going to go for the Change of Heart. It doesn't really do anything, and they're just going to tag out into the Roland, which is fine. They have 2 bodies on field, keep that in mind, but now we have enough to just walk into the field and kill them. We're going to go for the Pank, walk over, pop a card, walk in for 18, and then walk in for 6k with their own monster, KOing them. Hooray. Alrighty, and now we have the Synchro variant of this deck, which is a little bit different. We're actually playing hand traps this time. I know, crazy. And the reason for this is because we actually get access to things like the Psy frames. So we're playing the Gamma as well as Deltas, and then we are also playing Hop Ear Squadron. The reason for this is so that we can quick synchro on the opponent's turn in order to go into a myriad of different things. Of course, in tandem with this, we want to draw cards, so we're playing Molturmi as well as Nibiru, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is pretty much the same. We're still playing the triple tax and the talents, the thrusts and the talents, as well as Raigeki and Harpy's Feather Duster. And then all of the other Warrock stuff pretty much remains the same, because that is the standard. No one plays Warrock. I am the standard. Yeah. The like standard quote unquote list for Warrock for this. Yeah, 2 Gakos, 2 Wento, triple Portia, etc. The extra deck is not really all that interesting, let's be honest. The idea is that hopefully we can go Driver and Hop Ear Squadron into Excel Stardust. Excel Stardust bring back the Hop Ear Squadron, and then quick synchro utilizing the Stardust in order to go into Baron on the opponent's turn. That's the hope, but that's never going to happen. So let's see what does happen. Alrighty, here we are going second, and we did draw Delta, which is pretty solid. Let's see what we can accomplish with it. My opponent is going to start off here with Shadow Ghoul of the Labyrinth. Okay. Yeah, I mean, sure. And then they reveal that they're also on the Exodia stuff. Look, we may not be playing the best deck, but neither are our opponents, so it's fine. Anyway, they're going to grab the second Onk. They already revealed one Onk, so I'm like, okay, there's no point in me, like, negating the Onk because they're just going to activate a second one. So I'm just going to instead negate the Wall Shadow here and prevent that from setting up. Anyway, they're going to reveal that they didn't draw any of the pieces of Exodia. They are not like me, for real. But that's fine because we have a fairly decent hand here. It's not great, but I don't know, it could do something. We draw a second Fortia, which is hilarious. I'm going to start out here with the Warrock Mountain, which they do not bite on, which kind of sucks. I was really hoping that they would. So we're going to add the Meteoragon and then go to combat. We're going to activate the Warrock Mountain again. Again, they don't bite, and instead elect for my guy to be summoned, and then activate the effect. Here's the thing, Meteoragon has a very cool line of text. It's the very first line of text on the card, and literally they could have done this just like 5 seconds earlier and negated the field, and they would have killed me. They just blow up the field prior to the Meteoragon, and they die, and they win. They win. They just attack and I die, right? I can't do anything. However, sorry, I lied to you. I would have still had technically something, but the point is that realistically I wouldn't have had much. Oh wait, no, I'm lying to you. I still would summon Meteoragon. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. As soon as the Fortia hit the field, they goofed. So out comes the Meteoragon. Meteoragon is going to negate their guy, and then Meteoragon is going to activate its effect. Oh, sorry. If you're wondering how Mahmood hit the field, yeah, again, if this is destroyed, you can special summon a level 5 or higher Warrock from hand or deck. So that's what happened. So yeah, basically as soon as Fortia hit the field, we basically get access to Meteoragon for free. There's nothing that they can really do about that, and then we just get to walk into them for a ton of damage. They're on 400 life points, and yeah, they don't really have anything at this point. I don't see a world in which they win this. They go for the Shadow Ghoul again, which is crazy. Grab up Wall Shadow. They're going to add the Zonga, and then just activate Onk instead. Okay, cool. That was great. Anyway, away goes their Zonga. They're now going to go for the Blue Eyes in order to grab up the Onk again, and then go to combat and die. Yeah. Alrighty, and I've saved the best for last, which is the Fusion variant. And the reason this one is the best is because of two reasons. First and foremost, super polymerization. That's it. This card's obscene. And second of all, DPE. The official, unofficial Warrock monster. Yeah, Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer has been my win condition for ages now with Warrock. And the reason for this is because it is a warrior. That's it. Anyway, the other thing is, of course, like, you don't special summon a whole bunch, so the restriction on Fusion Destiny and things like Verte and what have you, also not that big of a deal. On top of that, with the effect of both Fortia and Gokdos, you have the ability to effectively go into Verte. Now, obviously, we can't do that here, but that's the idea, is you would use these two. You'd, like, normal summon a guy, summon the Gokdos, link it to Verte, and then go from there. That's the general idea. But then on top of that, it's just standard Warrock shenanigans. I'm also playing Pot of Extrav, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how I feel about this card, because oftentimes it does banish the 1 DPE that I had, but of course, you could just play more. If you have more, you could just play more. It's that simple. But it's a pretty simple deck. Let's hop into the replay, show you how this deck performed. Alrighty, here we are once again going second, and wow! Balatro hand, am I right? So my opponent is going to reveal that they are on, there it is, RB. Out comes Volcan Booster. They're going to go for Funk Doc, which are, man, these are names. Anyway, they're going to continue special summoning out their guys. Out comes the Brute Blues. They're going to activate the effect. They're going to add the Stage Landing, which they already had another one. So they're going to go for the Stage Landing here. They're going to go for the Lambda Cannon. They're going to add the Pile Bunker. They're going to go for the Lambda Cannon. They're going to reveal my hand. They're going to special summon the guy. Dasher, then they're going to pop it off of the Driller effect, and now they're going to go into Shepherd's Crook. Okay, now to be fair, they also know it's in hand, and of course they immediately play into the super polymerization that they know is in hand. It's fine. They're just a little goofy. They're just a little guy. They're a little goober. It's fine. Anyway, I draw Fortia, which is actually a pretty decent card. It's fine. We're going to go for the Starving Venom. They're going to go for the Funk Doc. That's fine. They are going to activate the Lambda. putting back the guy, and now we get to go to the main phase. I'm going to activate the effect. They are going to actually negate this, which is hilarious. So they're going to pop and then destroy my guy, gaining 2k. That's fine. I'm going to activate the medium. Medium effect is going to grab up the Warrock Mountain. Warrock Mountain is going to grab the Meteoragon, and then we get to normal summon Fortia. We're going to go to combat here and special summon the Meteoragon, deal 26, and then go for the Fortia to grab Dignity. Hooray. Now we can attack for 21 after the boost of Meteoragon, set a card, and pass the turn. They're going to go for the last stand, bringing back the Vulcan, and start their turn. They're going to start with the operations test, sure. I literally just, like, can't do anything. I don't know, maybe they play into Dignity, which is a monster negate. Now, however, they do have the Spell Trap negate, so I guess we're not doing anything. Out comes the Brute Blues, sure. They're going to activate the effect, they're going to bounce, and then resummon, which triggers the Driller, and then they're going to go to combat, not reading Meteoragon. No one ever reads Meteoragon. That's why it wins you games. Yeah, they attack immediately into the Meteoragon, which, by the way, is a terrible option. I just negate their card, and then they can't do anything, so oops! They do protect it, which is great, but it is negated, so I do get the search here. I search for a Mahmood. I'm also going to boost, because it's funny. And then they're going to attempt to pop. Of course, Meteoragon can't be destroyed, but notably Fortia can be, which then special summons the Bachelios, which they prompt to then, of course, also destroy, which is fine, because he wasn't doing anything anyway. Fantastic! We're going to activate the Medium. By the way, they can't activate anything here because of the Warrock Medium, which is great. I'm going to grab the Fortia here, then we're going to normal summon Mahmood. Why did I grab Fortia? That's a great question. I should have normal or added Gokdos. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, they're going to attempt to negate the effect of our Warrock Mountain. That would have special summoned the Fortia to our from our hand. Now, here's the thing. I do a bit of a goof. I attack with Mahmood, but I could have attacked with Meteoragon multiple times, because Meteoragon specifically has the ability to attack monsters multiple times after it uses its effect, right? Once per turn during the battle phase, you can make all Warrocks gain 200, and then this card can make 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase this turn. So that's generally what I should have done and could have done, and I could have walked over the field, and it would have been great. But instead, I decided to not do that. Luckily, it probably didn't matter. We grabbed the additional Dignity. They're locked out of anything during the main phase 1. They have no cards on field. We're probably pretty good at that point, but yeah, I could have killed them, and I didn't. Oops, it's fine. Alrighty, so we're back with the deck, and honestly, this deck is bad. Oh, it's so bad. But it is very funny. And here's the thing. If you are currently not against, like, the toppest tier players, if you're just looking to have a good time, I do actually really like this deck. If you have a lot of, like, the go second staples, it's probably worth it. It's also not exactly expensive, right? You don't need Bachelios. You could probably play this with 1 UR. In Meteoragon. Everything else is SR or lower, and everything else is pretty cheap. So, there you go. All of the other stuff is like staples that you could fit in here or there, right? If you have the go second cards, you can play that. You can play more hand trap style if you wanted to, similar to how Tenpai works with like a bunch of draw cards and stuff like that. So it's kind of up to you, and I just love this deck. I think it's so funny. It's horrible. Just everything that you would think would be on like a modern card is just not on these cards, right? There's like just the silliest conditions for all of their effects. Like, you know, for example, Fortia, if this card is sent from the monster zone to your grave by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon it. You know, you could just special summon a level 5 or higher, right? All of these guys have that effect. It's very silly. It's truly just a deck of all time. Learning this deck is, quite frankly, one of the funniest things. That's all. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was basically just an excuse to play Warrock, because I so rarely get the opportunity to. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much appreciated. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.